Carter, listen to me. Don't do this.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 20 real-life accidents that mirrored the fatalities from the Final Destination franchise. As a warning, there will be spoilers.
Each one of these people went on to die in some weird and messed up way. And not only that, they all died in the same order as Iris's premonition.
Tall skyscraper. Keeping with its freaky tradition, Final Destination Bloodlines kicks off with a stunning disaster in a sky-high restaurant.
Oh, no, I've just never been this high up before.
It's 1969, and during the grand opening of the futuristic Skyview, Iris has a premonition of the tower collapsing. She warns everyone, narrowly averting the tragedy. While nothing as dramatic occurred in real life, something equally tragic did happen. In 2017, a young Chris Holt was with his parents visiting the Sundial, a rotating restaurant on the 72nd floor of Atlanta's Peachtree Plaza Hotel. He wandered away and got trapped between the wall and the rotating restaurant's floor. Rescue attempts failed and he later died. The building may not have collapsed, but after that, who wouldn't get nervous about dining way up high? Stone altar. In the Final Destination franchise, even if you manage to escape a massive disaster, death always comes back, striking in the weirdest, most elaborate ways imaginable.
We're here. Something gave us a second chance, so let's be thankful and just try to make the most of it. Okay?
Tragically, a real-life incident echoes that same chilling theme. In 2009, Gunter Link, a devout Catholic, survived being trapped in an elevator. Grateful to be alive, he went to give thanks to God. But fate had other plans. While praying at the Winehouse Church in Vienna, he clung to the stone pillar and the stone altar collapsed and crushed him. He was found dead the next day by parishioners. What are the odds of something so eerie happening? It's honestly the kind of tragic twist you would expect in a horror movie. The roller coaster. The roller coaster accident in Final Destination 3 hits a little close to home when you hear about a real-life incident from 2019.
What's wrong?
I was having that feeling like deja vu, except for something that hasn't happened yet.
In the film, Wendy boards the Devil's Flight roller coaster and suddenly has a vision that it will crash. Panicking, she convinces some friends to get off, and moments later, the crash actually happens. Now here's where it gets eerie. In 2019, at a theme park in Mexico City, a roller coaster called Chimera actually did derail. One of its cars veered off, fell several feet away, and 2 people died from the accident. As freaky as Wendy's vision is, it proves that the unthinkable can happen. But then again, this is not the only case of roller coaster accidents. No escape. In the very first installment, Alex has a gut-wrenching vision of Flight 180 exploding just before takeoff.
It's not a joke! It's not a joke! Alex, take it easy!
In a panic, he manages to save himself and some other passengers. But death is not quite done with them. In fact, the entire franchise runs on this scary pattern. Escape now, pay later. Now here's the kicker. Something just as chilling happened in real life. In 2012, sportscaster Jessica Redfield escaped a mass shooting at Toronto's Eaton Centre. She even tweeted about having a sickening feeling before it happened. Tragically, weeks later, she died in a second shooting, this time in a movie theater.
Actually, our lives have been upside down for almost 3 years, so it was a pretty easy decision to decide that we really wanted to be here during the trial.
Makes you wonder if Final Destination draws from real life, or is life just that twisted? Either way, it is terrifying and sad. Large steel chain. Every fan of the franchise knows the drill. Freak accidents, chain reactions, and death lurking in the unlikeliest places. Remember the gymnast's death in Final Destination 5?
I think you got this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you love it out there.
Okay, you're right.
She's mid-routine when chaos unfolds. A loose screw, shock in the eyes, a stumble, then bam, she loses her grip and falls to her death. Sounds wild, right? Well, real life gave us something just as bizarre in 2023. The punk band Cliff Diver was en route to the punk rock bowling festival in Vegas when all hell broke loose. Out of nowhere, a massive steel chain link from a passing semi-truck flew past the driver's seat and slammed the driver, Tyler Rogers, in the neck. Miraculously, the van didn't crash and Rogers survived.
We're gonna figure that out, but we're not concerned about anything besides him getting out of the hospital.
Decapitation. Some accidents in Final Destination might seem over the top and absurd at first glance, but then real life comes along to remind us that the truth can be just as bizarre.
What are you doing?
In 2004, a drunk driver in Georgia, John Kemper Hutcherson, crashed into a support wire for a telephone pole. The wire acted like a razor, and in the chaos, decapitated Francis Daniel Brom, who was leaning out the window. The drunk Hutcherson drove 12 miles home with the headless corpse and even slept in his bloody clothes. It wasn't until a neighbor spotted the corpse that authorities got involved. Still, a decapitation by a stray wire? What are the odds of that happening? It proves that the weirdest, most gruesome accidents don't just belong on screen. Wood chipper. Bizarre doesn't even begin to describe this 2005 incident that happened in Denver. Chad Swank and his longtime partner Brian Morse were working a routine tree trimming job when tragedy struck. While cutting a branch, Swank noticed that Morse was lying across the opening of the chipper. At first, he thought the machine was turned off and Morse was fixing something. But to his surprise, the chipper was still running and Morse was being pulled towards it with his feet first. Even sadder, Swank couldn't do anything to stop it. This accident reads like a Final Destination scene. Unexpected, brutal, and unsettling. We've seen everyday machines turn deadly in horror fiction. Unfortunately, they do cause real-life tragedies too. The Cursed Flight. No one can forget that iconic opening of the first film. It's the moment that kicked off a franchise built on freaky accidents.
You look at me as if I caused this. I didn't cause this.
That very scene was born from writer Jeffrey Reddick's idea, which came after he read a strange real-life story in the newspaper. According to this story, a mother had warned her daughter not to board a specific flight because she had a bad feeling about it. The daughter listened, and that plane later crashed. While Flight 180 may be fictional, it's eerily similar to a real-life plane crash. In 1996, TWA Flight 800 exploded mid-air just 12 minutes after takeoff, killing all 230 passengers on board.
It's mass chaos.
And from all of this wreckage, they can actually see that this was the 747 from Flight 800.
Orange peel. Imagine surviving near-death experiences like plunging over Niagara Falls in a barrel, only to be taken out by an orange peel. That's exactly what happened to the British daredevil Bobby Leach. After surviving the falls, he kept pushing limits like swimming dangerous rivers, but nothing fatal happened. In 1926, during a publicity tour in New Zealand, fate came knocking on his door. While walking down the street, Leach slipped on an orange peel, injured his leg, and got a nasty infection. Doctors planned an amputation, but it was too late, as he died from complications. As sad as it is, isn't it peak Final Destination energy? Something tiny kicks off a domino effect, and before you know it, someone is being impaled or electrocuted. MRI machine. Just as Stephanie warned, death was coming for everyone in her family. Her cousin Eric narrowly survives one freak accident in his tattoo shop and thinks he's in the clear. But death is not done. While near an MRI machine, it powers up behind him.
This is the only way we can do this.
Soon, his phone is sucked in, boosting the magnet to dangerous levels. In a horrifying twist, his piercings are ripped out just before he's yanked into the machine. It is painful to watch, but something just as brutal happened in real life. In New York, Keith McAllister was wearing a large gold chain while his wife was getting her knee scanned. The MRI machine forcefully pulled him, and he died the next day from the traumatic injuries.
Investigators say a 61-year-old man wearing a large metal chain was hospitalized following a freak accident.
Pool drains. In The Final Destination, Hunt chases his lucky quarter into the deep end of a swimming pool, where he gets his bottom stuck against a powerful drain. With nowhere to go, the pressure gauge reaches a high enough number to suck his intestines out and regurgitate them all over the deck. There have been many true cases of swimmers being stuck against pool drains, though most end in rescue.
A freak accident and rescue at the public pool.
But just 2 years before the film's release, a young girl in Minneapolis sat on a powerful public pool drain and suffered a similar fate to Hunt. Though she initially survived, she would not make it through a series of surgeries.
A body can actually seal off these covers, and large forces could hold a bather down to the drain.
As a result of this tragedy, Congress passed legislation to ban drain covers that don't meet anti-entrapment safety standards. Tanning beds. Horror films have long used tanning beds as a plot device to convey the purported dangers of vanity, or the literal danger of skin cancer. Vapid teens Ashley and Ashlyn find themselves trapped in a fiery tomb after a series of unfortunate events sets their beds ablaze. While there have been many instances of tanning beds causing major fires at salons, they fortunately happened while the businesses were closed. That is, except for one case.
When firefighters arrived, the tanning bed was fully engulfed in flames.
In 2014, a woman catching a tan found herself flying too close to the sun. After hearing a spark and seeing smoke, the bed caught fire. Fortunately, the woman was not locked in like the girls in the movie, so she jumped out as the sprinkler system kicked on and survived the calamity unharmed. Nail guns. After Ian is saved in Final Destination 3, the Reaper quickly moves on by unloading a full clip of nails from a modified nail gun into the back of Aaron's head. Actual pneumatic nail guns do not operate quite like the one in the movie, but at least 10 construction site incidents have resulted in fatalities according to OSHA databases. In 2023, a truly Final Destination-esque situation unfolded when a nail gun erroneously ejected 2 nails. One ricocheted off the other, which was sent upwards through the tongue of a carpenter's apprentice. The man miraculously survived, but a 33-year-old laborer would lose his life in a freakish workplace disaster that took place in 2013. The sequential trigger of the nail gun he was using had been swapped out for a contact one, causing him to misfire directly into his eye while holding up a wall. Kitchen knives. Kitchen knives are a common tool used in homicides, but have been the cause of some truly grotesque mishaps as well. In the first movie, Val reaches for a rag, which happens to be draped over a knife rack. The entire thing tumbles over, sending a blade directly into her chest. The Rube Goldberg-like scene is pretty convoluted, however, not entirely unrealistic. In 2025, a boy in Australia tripped and fell backward onto an open dishwasher, landing on a steak knife. He fortunately survived the ordeal. But 4 years prior, a man carrying a plate of food up the stairs tripped and landed directly on his knife, which cut his carotid artery and caused him to bleed out. Elevator doors. There is an eerie number of ways an elevator can kill you. A rapid descent, a tumble down the shaft, or being crushed while entering or exiting have all caused casualties. But there's nothing quite as horrific as the Final Destination 2 moment where Nora's head is caught in between the doors and popped off. Even more terrifying, this exact scenario has actually played out multiple times. Back in 1995, a man holding an elevator open for another passenger in the Bronx was beheaded in a bizarre mishap. In 2003, a surgical resident's shoulders were pinned by a malfunctioning door and his head was severed. Even as recently as 2019, a woman in India had her headphones tangled in a factory lift's outer structure, leading to a grisly scene. Escalators. Like elevators, there's a notable sinking feeling many of us get when we step on or off an escalator. What if your shoelace gets caught? What if the entire thing collapses? In The Final Destination, Laurie gets sucked into the gears during a mall disaster. So basically, everyone's worst nightmare come true. And this nightmare did in fact come true in 2015. A mother in Beijing noticed a hole that suddenly appeared at the top of an escalator shaft when she and her son were reaching the summit. Though she managed to shove her boy to safety, she was tragically swallowed by the machine, much like Laurie.
The mall stayed open, customers unaware of the horror on the 7th floor.
Gym weights. It's safe to say the stack machine featured in Final Destination 3 doesn't really exist. It was specifically designed to crush Lewis's skull during an intense workout. Though this piece of engineering is fabricated, it's clear that gym weights are still extremely dangerous. Most fatal accidents occur without spotters present or on account of improper technique. In 2017, a trainer was pinned down in his home by a weightlifting machine that toppled over. The pressure on his throat led to a fatal heart attack. In 2025, a man performing calf raises while using a Smith machine slipped, causing the plastic step beneath him to tilt and the bar above his head to crash down on his neck. Gas grills. A good old backyard barbecue should smell like hamburgers and hot dogs, not singed flesh. At the very end of Final Destination 2, minor character Brian is blown to bits by a propane tank. This final twist is played off in a comedic manner to remind our protagonists that death is still making its rounds. However, it's no laughing matter when these types of incidents take place in real life. These detonations aren't really powerful enough to send limbs flying through the air, so we can chalk the final destination scene up to dramatic effect. With that being said, there have been a number of grill-related freak accidents. At a church community event, a dangerously high amount of propane had accumulated around the burner just before a volunteer sparked it. This explosion forced the grill door to open so violently that it struck and killed the man instantly. Aerial lifts. Most cherry picker-related deaths occur when the attendant in the bucket falls out or is struck by a passing truck. Yet despite being planted firmly on the ground, bad boy Ian is splattered by a cherry picker towering over him in Final Destination 3. 1 year after the film's release, this anomaly actually occurred at a construction site. The victim was working on several counterbalance valves at the base of a telescopic lift while it was in an extended position. The boom suddenly collapsed, crushing him below. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Logging trucks. Perhaps the most universally fear-inducing moment of the franchise, the pileup in Final Destination 2 is seared into viewers' brains, and for good reason. These types of accidents are all too common. An unsecured load of lumber toppling onto an open highway is a terrifying scenario. The movie's log through the windshield moment has unfolded numerous times, more often as a result of a driver rear-ending a timber lorry. This occurred as recently as 2024, when a man in North Carolina was fatally impaled in the abdomen as a result of the crash. A similar incident took place the same year, claiming the lives of a couple in North Dakota. So it looks like this generational trauma sadly won't heal anytime soon. Which of these real-life accidents freaked you out the most? Let us know in the comments.
Okay, those kids on Flight 180 died in accidents in the order they would have died if they'd have stayed on the plane.